Good evening, everyone. My name is Pratham, and my topic is We Are Independent with a question mark. Independence on a fundamental level is a state of self dependency where people of a country or a state do not have to depend on outside administration for survival. But the reality is far too complex, debatable, and ambiguous than the definition suggests. Taking the case of a country like ours, we have a long history of invasions from the eras of Demetrius and Meander of the Indo Greek kingdom to the invasion of Turks, Mughals, and finally the more recent British Empire. The country has been grabbing the world's attention for centuries, and in the past 74 years, the country not only declared itself independent of any outside power, but it's also taking back its former glory of being the golden bird, which was unjustly abused by many kingdoms for centuries. Yet still, every once in a while, we ask each other in soliloquy and as well as in public forums, are we independent? Sure, we are. Sure, we have a ruling system that gives every citizen equal opportunity to serve the country as its benevolent leader. However, even that does not provide enough confidence to conclude the argument. Historically, colonialism has unapologetically destroyed multiple civilizations and cultures. Slavery and forced industrialization were norms of the past few centuries. Many countries, including India, across the globe, has suffered due to the West obsessions, while there are countries like Sri Lanka still dealing with the mess left behind by the West. Despite all these, countries are growing with astonishing rates both globally and internally. The world is becoming more and more of a multipolar world. Our country specifically has many cultural changes post independence, and surely there are multiple problems still lying ahead of us. But it's still a relief that a person, while alive, enjoys freedom and independence as he or she is supposed to be. There are no more serving the king, but becoming the kings ourselves. No more invaders destroying our institutions and burning our wealth of books. No more forcefully going to world wars we aren't even part of, and especially no more abuse and suppression of human resources. The the world demanding equal opportunities is actually becoming more and more egalitarian than ever before. Sure, it's not a perfect paradise, but it's not an endless hell either. Hope prevails to the depth of society. However, in all honesty, the world is not that independent and free than we assume it to be. In terms of economics, the founder of modern India made the country a closed market for the local businessman to grow and for the economy to become more independent. But the country didn't seem to have grown economically in that period, leaving us with no choice but to open our markets in 1990, making the citizens and the economy dependent on global market. Not only that, we also have had to make peace and diplomatic relations with several countries like US and China to just have support in international councils like the UN. We call our country independent. However, it is the nature of this era that every country is dependent on each other. Even a close nation like North Korea depends on its communist buddies like China and Russia for resources and military power. Our country's biggest trade partner is China. So no matter how much we hate our friendly neighbor, there are more or less unnecessary evil. Internally, populism and authoritarianism are at its peak. Not only religious and ethnic minorities, but also intellectual minorities are also under the threat of being cancelled, boycotted, and worst case scenario, publicly lynched. Independence is more or less a privilege enjoyed by only those who are accepted and understood by the majority, no matter how morally or incorrect they are. And if your views does not resonate with the majority, then every day they will struggle to survive. Uh, in conclusion and in closing, I would like to take an example from Tom Scott's speech. There is no algorithm for the truth, which he gave at the Royal Institution in reference to the social media, and where he talks about how too much of freedom causes creation of Nazi camps, promoting extremism, hatred, and scams, whereas too less of freedom causes the creation of echo chambers, forcing one to suppress his or her thoughts and only speaks and believes what others do. There is no algorithm, system, or constitution that for providing independence and freedom without giving opportunities to extremists and scamsters. It's the nature of humans to exploit the system created by themselves, and the habit to always push the boundaries. To this exact reason, there cannot be absolute freedom. Though it can be measured, it cannot be quantized. It's an abstract concept. And the most hilarious fact among all this is that ever since its origin, humans and animals have all been independent. Humans of recent era have enslaved themselves by the system they create. True freedom was just a thing of past. Now we live in now we live independence of each other. Thank you.